How's the saying go? Sometimes you have to kill your darlings to move on. Hello, D-Rock here. Welcome to the channel. I hope you all are well. That's the story. Someone should be here in the next few hours to pick this bike up. That's right. I'm selling my CRF300L. And this is just going to be a short video, a final review, my final thoughts after 4 years of owning this particular motorcycle. It's been excellent. I've had a tremendous amount of adventures on this motorcycle. However, it's time to let it go and move on. I have mostly positive things to say about this motorcycle and a couple negative things. I mean, it can't be perfect. There is no perfect motorcycle. However, what I've come to learn with the dual sport motorcycles and how I utilize them is that, you know, every motorcycle has its purpose for the individual and how the individual wants to ride it. That's basically what it all boils down to. And for me, this channel, my other channels, all it boils down to is exploration. This bike I used to explore, just like all my other bikes. Travel, exploration. Yeah, so that's what I utilize all my bikes for. And this bike has done me well. It's done me very well. I'll go ahead and get the negative aspects of this bike over with real quickly. Three main things for me. Now, I'm sure you could find more if you looked, but for me, the three main things that I had problems with this bike, number one, ended up being the suspension, after all. In earlier videos from a few years back, I would say that the suspension didn't bother me as much. A lot of the times I wasn't carrying a lot of, say, camping gear on the bike or a lot of weight. Maybe it's just me and, you know, some stuff out, some tools and water and gas and stuff for the day. That's I did a lot of exploring that way out into the desert since I'm in the desert. And the suspension wasn't a major thing for me. However, as time moved on, I got further out, my skill got better at riding. I would take on more difficult terrains, or I would go on these big solo moto camping trips, and I'd have a lot of gear on the bike. The suspension definitely became a problem. So that's a big deal. It does end up being a big deal if you're using the bike in that manner. Extra weight, packing on lots of stuff for moto camping. That's what I'm talking about. And yes, suspension did. Now you can deal with the suspension. I only looked into one way to do that. That was the rally rate, I believe. And it's pretty spendy. And well, if you do one thing, you need to do two things, you know? So I think it ended up being, if I can recall correctly, maybe $1,800, under $2,000 or close to $2,000. I can't really remember, but it's a chunk of change to deal with the rear suspension. Then you got to deal with the front, the forks and everything if you want it to work out well. And it's expensive. However, from what I understand, the people that have done it, it has turned the bike into something just excellent. So, however, by the time I got to that point where the suspension was a big deal for me, I didn't want to drop another $1,500, $1,800 into the bike. I just didn't. I mean, what I have on the bike already was expensive. You know, outfitting a motorcycle is very expensive. So that's a big negative. And if you're intending to get one of these bikes, a 300L, and you want to ride it in difficult terrain, we're talking enduro or something, I mean, you can, but the suspension will eventually catch up to you and it'll be a big deal. You'll either have to deal with it, get rid of the bike, and that's your options. Next, the gas tank. Now, you can remedy that by putting an aftermarket gas tank in. I don't know exactly how that would affect having a tank bag or whatnot. I don't know how many options there are for that. I never really looked into it because I'd always carry plenty of extra gas on this bike. However, there were times where I just didn't have any room for more gas, and I would go so far in the desert that it eventually starts creeping into the back of your head that, okay, well, I got to be careful because I've only got so much gas. So the gas tank is limiting if you're using the bike in that manner. But like I said, with the suspension, you can fix that. Gas tank, you can fix that. And third, Third, which you would think wouldn't become that big of a deal, but it did, is the side stand. The side stand became a huge ordeal. The stock side stand for this bike is trash. It's absolute trash. There's no way around it. It's almost dangerous to a point. The bike, if you get too much weight, it'll just flip over. So I tried a T-Rex option. Most of T-Rex products I really enjoy. However, their adjustable side stand has not worked out very well for me with this bike. So that became an issue, and it's not like a detrimental issue. It's just you're on the bike so much time. You're getting on and off the bike, especially filming. You're always getting on and off the bike because you have to set up cameras. And the side stand, just dealing with the bike, it just got so annoying. Anyway, it became more frustrating than some of the other issues, believe it or not, for me. Like I said, there's ways to deal with that. I even got a side stand from Rally Raid, and I didn't realize that you have to put in the suspensions to get the correct side stand. So I should have read the fine print, right? My bad. Anyway, so those three things were the big problems for me with the bike. That being said, the positives of the bike are fantastic. And for me, overall, all I really needed out of the bike was reliability. I needed something. I go 200, 100 miles, 200, wherever, out deep into the desert, the mountains, whatever you want to do. I need it to get me back. And this bike always got me back. And I got into some situations with this bike. It always started, always got me back. As far as reliability, this is a fantastic bike. Comfort, bike fit me great. I'm 5'10". I'm not going to go through all the specs of the bike, but some bikes you just can't really get comfortable on. I was very comfortable on this bike, especially after I did the seat swap. So what's on the bike is the Seat Concepts Extra Large Comfort, I think, and it is a fantastic seat. Absolutely fantastic. I could do 200-300 mile days without any issues. And to be honest with you, the stock seat was pretty comfortable. Initially, I thought it wasn't so, but it kind of broke in. And by the time, it took like 3 months to get the Seat Concept seat in. By the time I had ordered it and everything, I actually got really used to the stock seat. And I was like, well, this isn't half bad. But then the Seat Concept showed up. And it did make a marked difference. So as far as like knee comfort, leg, everything fit great with me with this bike, with my size. And I've just been extremely comfortable with the bike. So comfort, reliability, I had no issues with that at all. The bike always started, got me to where I was going, and got me out, more importantly. And yeah, so I think overall I've been extremely happy with this bike. And if you are in the market for one, I highly recommend owning one. If you're prepared, if you understand the limitations of the bike and what you intend to be riding it for. On the highways, back roads, this was an excellent bike. 55, 65 miles an hour, even 70, it's not a problem. Interstate riding, no, this probably isn't the bike. It's just too light. However, on the back roads, like I mentioned, highways, this is a fantastic cruising bike. You get the right seat on it, it's very comfortable, very nice. All said and done, why am I selling it? If I didn't have to, I wouldn't be selling it, to be honest with you. However, the bike's sitting. I haven't been doing much riding. I made a channel update a few months back about some changes that have occurred with me. I'm a full-time student now, plus I work full-time, so that leaves my YouTube adventuring. Something's got to give, and that's what had to give until this school is over with. So that's why it's being sold, because I don't have the time. And it's kind of bittersweet because you get sentimental, you get attached to things, and I've had so many just fantastic experiences with this bike that it's very difficult to let it go. However, that's it. The only thing constant in life is change, So this has got to go. It's going to help me financially, and someone else is going to get to enjoy the bike. It'll continue, and so be it. And it also leaves me room to explore something else. So, that being said, that's pretty much my final review for this bike. Understand what you want to ride in and how you want to ride it, and you won't have any issues with this bike. It's not made for hard enduro. However, if you want to cruise back roads, maybe try some light technical terrain, this bike is fantastic. Once you get it set up, maybe you want to deal with suspension, maybe not. It's up to you, you know. But overall, I think it's an excellent bike. And like I said, the number one priority for me overall was reliability, and this bike has it for sure. So that being said, if you don't have one and you're thinking about getting one, by all means, go for it. All right, folks, thank you very much. I've got content on the way. It might be a little intermittent as I navigate this path I'm on currently, but I appreciate you watching. Stay safe out there, and we'll see you next time. D-Rock out. Adios.